Hello and welcome back to another Shadowlands goldmaking video. Today we will talk about the best covenants for goldmaking in Shadowlands, and I will start by talking about each individual covenant and what they bring to the table when it comes to goldmaking, then rank them at the end. This is all based on the beta and how things looks on the beta from late September to early October, as most of my testing on the beta happened in that period. So keep that in mind and remember that Blizzard can change things before launch, but I really don't think they will. I think they will keep the current settings, but maybe just tune the numbers a bit, and that will impact raiding and PvPing more than goldmaking, so I think this video should be fairly accurate. So let's just get into it. The Night Fae. For the Night Fae you can choose to soulbind yourself with Naya, and doing so will give you an ability called Nature's Splendor, which will occasionally give you a random bag of materials whenever you kill enemies. This bag can contain leather, meat, and fish. Additionally, the Night Fae Covenant ability for monks is really strong for AoE farming, as it's basically a Fae line that affects any mob that stands in it, and deals damage to them. Same goes for druids when it comes to mob farming, as you're able to channel a burst of 12 random druid spells in 4 seconds. Spells here include Star Surge and Starfall, Regrowth, Moonfire, Wrath, Rejuvenation, Rake, and Thrash. It's strong both in AoE and single target scenarios. If you're a Venthyr, you can choose to soulbind with Theotar the Mad Duke, which gives you an ability called Exquisite Ingredients, on row 7, which gives you a random selection of herbs and beverages. These ingredients can drop whenever you kill enemies in the Shadowlands. The Kyrian. If you're a Kyrian, you can choose the Pelagos Soulbind, which gives you an ability called Cleansed Vestments on row 5, which gives you a chance of obtaining cleansed cloth and enchanting materials whenever you kill an enemy. The Necrolords. For the Necrolords, you can choose to soulbind yourself with Bonesmith Hermir. I don't think I spelled that right, but who cares? Which gives you an ability called Bonesmith's Satchel on row 7. This satchel will randomly drop as you kill enemies, and will give you gems and ores. As we can see from this quick summary, every single covenant has some soulbind that gives you a chance of obtaining a bag containing certain materials whenever you kill an enemy in the Shadowlands, and in order to decide which one is best, we need to consider the price for the materials, and for that we can compare it to the most recent expansion, aka BFA. Enchanting materials is already fairly easy to acquire, especially considering you can turn cloth into green and blue items and disenchant them, and the same goes for Shadowlands. Cloth is also fairly easy to acquire, so we can basically rule out the Kyrian since their bag of materials gives cloth and enchanting materials. That leaves us with the Night Fae, Venthyr, and Necrolords. From here, I think it's all about which covenant you want, but based on the bags alone, I think the Venthyr looks very good, based on the fact that you can get herbs and beverages, and those beverages could include certain potions, or maybe even flasks and oils. But that being said, we also need to consider that these bags drops from mobs, so you'll mostly get these on your mob farming character, and the Night Fae has insanely good abilities for mob farming in groups, both for monks and for druids. Another big bonus for the Night Fae is that you can get access to your own grove, or basically your own garden, which is your weekly event or pretty much daily event. While the Necrolords get an event to create bone creatures, the Venthyr gets some sort of vampire party, and the Kyrian gets some sort of duel thing. You actually get something useful for gold making from your event within the Night Fae. In your garden you can plant certain things and use catalysts to increase the quality of the rewards you get. So you can, for example, plant a seed that gives enchanting materials, and connecting it to catalysts will increase the quality or quantity of those materials. So if you connect it to 2 catalysts, you could acquire an epic disenchanting or enchanting material, which could be worth a fair bit early on. The same goes for herbalism and mining materials, although they don't really go all the way up to epic quality, so instead they will increase the quantity. That being said, we also need to look at the standard abilities for covenants as well, and seeing how the Night Fae ability lets you transform into a spectral animal and increases your movement speed and lets you dash forward, that makes it really strong for gathering materials as well, since it gives you more mobility and more means of escaping or avoiding combat. So based on that, for me the priority looks like this. The Night Fae is number 1, then Venthyr and Necrolords are joint number 2, and then Kyrian is last, because cloth and enchanting materials is something you'll be able to obtain anyway. To be honest, in the long term I think the banks from the Venthyr Mad Duke Soulbind could be really strong because people will constantly need herbs for oils, flasks, potions, elixirs, and now we also have inscription missives as well, meaning there will always be a constant demand for herbs, and I guess it all depends on what the beverages he actually gives is, because if he gives potions and elixirs and maybe even flasks, as well as herbs, then that might actually be enough to make it number 1. But to be honest, I really like the Night Fae Covenant. Now all of this is for active gold making on active characters, but if you want to set yourself up for semi-passive gold making as well, you could make several characters with the Night Fae Covenant, unlock the grove or garden and simply do the deed daily or weekly calling to acquire seeds and catalysts, and you will be able to get some semi-passive gold income as well. So for passive gold making, the Night Fae is definitely number 1, and because they bring a lot of positives to both mob farming and profession farming, they are also number 1 for active gold making in my opinion. So when it comes to overall gold making, and the answer to the question in the title of this video, the answer is the Night Fae. The Night Fae is the best covenant for gold making. That being said, if you don't care about the Night Fae Grove or the Garden or the Queen's Conservatory, basically the event, then whether you pick the Night Fae, the Venthyr, or the Necrolords really does not matter. The only covenant that ranks poorly, in my opinion, is the Kyrian, but in the current version of the beta, they also get their trait to pick up goodie banks a lot earlier than other classes, so if you're looking for some extra gold very early in the game, there's a bonus for you right there as a Kyrian, but long term, the other covenants will win. So as long as you're planning to be a bit active on your character, I would say pick up the Night Fae Covenant. All of those seeds you need to plant, you will get them from doing basically any activity, dailies, weeklies, anything like that. You will even have daily quests within your garden or grove, and get seeds from there. So let's talk a bit more about the Night Fae Grove or the Garden or the Queen's Conservatory as they call it. I will have a whole video on this subject later, but I just want to explain it a little bit. Basically, you tend to spirits, and you can infuse these spirits with seeds and catalysts to increase the quality and quantity of rewards you get for caring for them, as well as reduce the time it takes for them to grow. Once the timer runs out, you will be given rewards for taking care of the spirit. Basically, you will nurture a spirit back to life, and that spirit will then give you a chest, or a cache, for taking care of the spirit. This cache can contain anything from resources to different materials, to special cosmetics like pets and mounts. And the way I have seen it, you get materials plus some sort of item, like a weapon or armor pieces, that can be sold, and these are, by standard, they are green, and connecting them to the catalyst that increases the quality will make them blue or sometimes even epic. And once again, you can manipulate what you obtain by using catalysts that increase quality or quantity of items. You also get the seeds for the spirits through multiple sources like daily quests, weekly quests, and campaign quests. So as long as you plan on doing your dailies and weeklies, you should have plenty of spirits to take care of, which gives you some extra materials which you can then sell for gold. And yeah, I think that is it for this video, guys. I hope I was able to clear up a few things about covenants and gold making, and no matter what your choice ends up being, the differences are very small, and each covenant has some gold making bonuses attached to them. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below if there's any specific videos you want me to make, and click on one of the 2 videos shown on the screen right now. Actually wait, subscribe first, then click on one of the videos. And that's it guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.